Over the last 2 weeks, the price of running an AI coding agent quietly fell off a cliff, and if you build with AI, this decides your next invoice. We pulled the official pricing pages of 4 frontier models and rebuilt the math, line by line. An open-weight model now beats GPT 5.5 on a flagship agentic coding benchmark at roughly 1/6 of its blended price. Another open model just became the first one ever offered inside GitHub Copilot's model picker. And Anthropic shipped a $2 Sonnet, the cheapest a new Sonnet has ever launched. The launch videos quote the press release. We open the invoices. For stops, the contenders, the sticker prices, the 3 hidden numbers that break those prices, and 1 chart that names your winner. Here's how fast this moved. If we made this video 3 weeks ago, most of these prices wouldn't exist yet. June 16th, Z.AI ships GLM-5.2. Open weights, MIT license, free to self-host, free to modify. June 30th, Anthropic launches Claude Sonnet 5 at $2 per million input tokens, and it lands in GitHub Copilot the very same day. July 1st, Moonshot's Kimi K2.7 Code goes live in Copilot. In GitHub's own words, the first open-weight model in the Copilot model picker. 3 releases in 15 days, 1 theme. The cost of serious agentic coding is collapsing. Contender 1 shouldn't exist. A 744 billion parameter model that's legally free to download and run on your own hardware. Per Z.AI's own comparison table, GLM-5.2 beats GPT 5.5 on SWE Bench Pro, 62.1 versus 58.6. Honest caveat, the same table shows it losing to GPT 5.5 on Terminal Bench and several reasoning tests. And Claude Opus 4.8 still leads it on most agentic coding evals. Contender 2 is the one whose price tag has an expiry date most launch videos aren't reading. Claude Sonnet 5. Anthropic's published results put it at 63.2 on SWE Bench Pro, within striking distance of Opus 4.8 at Sonnet prices. It ships with a 1 million token context window, and the full million is billed at standard rates. No long context premium. It's the default model on Claude.ai, and it's live in Claude code. Contender 3 doesn't win a single benchmark on this chart, and it might still be the one you end up using. Kimi K2.7 Code. Around 1 trillion total parameters, 32 billion active, and a modified MIT license. Its headline isn't a benchmark, it's distribution. It now sits inside GitHub Copilot, hosted by GitHub on Azure, one drop down away from what GitHub calls the world's largest developer platform. Your prompts never even touch Moonshot servers. But here's where it gets interesting. None of these sticker prices survive contact with a real agent loop. Here are the stickers. And keep your eye on the output column, because that's where the incumbent gets embarrassed. GPT 5.5, the incumbent baseline, $5 in, $30 out. Claude Sonnet 5, $2 in, $10 out. GLM 5.2, $1.40 in, $4.40 out. And Kimi K2.7 Code, 95 cents in, $4 out. Line up that output column, 30, 10, $4.40, and 4. That is 7.5 times spread between the incumbent and the cheapest challenger. One catch for your calendar. Sonnet's 2 in, 10 out deal is introductory pricing, and it ends August 31st. From September 1st, it reverts to $3 in, $15 out. Still cheap, but 50% more than what the launch videos are quoting. The Copilot angle makes this concrete. Since June, Copilot bills models per token, and credits worth 1 cent each. Kimi K2.7 Code is billed at Moonshot's own list price. No markup, no multiplier. Do the credits math. Copilot Pro costs $10 a month and includes $15 of model credits. On the workload we're about to price, that covers about 2.5 days of heavy agent use. After that, every token is billed straight to you. So the model you pick in that dropdown is no longer a taste question. It's a budget decision. The price war isn't happening across rival apps anymore. It's happening inside one menu. Now, for the part almost every comparison video skips, the 3 numbers that quietly decide your real bill. Hidden number 1, the tokenizer tax. Anthropic's own pricing docs say Sonnet 5's new tokenizer produces roughly 30% more tokens than the previous generation for the same text. Same file, same prompt, about 30% more billable units. Anthropic themselves say the intro price roughly cancels it out, which also tells you the September price rise is bigger than it looks. And it generalizes. Every vendor counts tokens differently, so per token prices across vendors are never directly comparable. A price per million tokens is only half a number. The other half is how many tokens your text becomes. Hidden number 2, the cache rate. An agent doesn't read your codebase once. It sends it again on almost every step of the loop. So in a long session, the overwhelming majority of your input tokens are repeats, and every provider prices those repeats differently. Cached input costs 1/10 of the normal rate on Anthropic and OpenAI, about 1/5 on Kimi and GLM, which means your effective price depends less on the sticker and more on how well your harness reuses context. Hidden number 3, the workload itself. So we built one standardized month and sent every model the same bill. 15 agent sessions, a working day, 22 working days, about 330 sessions. Each session is a real loop, about 1 million input tokens, the same context sent again step after step. 85% of that comes from cache, plus 20,000 tokens of output. Here's the month, cheapest to priciest. Kimi K2.7 Code, about $127. GLM-5.2, about $170. Claude Sonnet 5 on intro pricing, about $220. Call it $331 standard pricing kicks in. And GPT 5.5, about $590. Same work, same month. $127 versus $590. The incumbent costs 4.5 times the cheapest challenger. For a sanity check, Anthropic's own docs put typical Claude code usage at around $13 per developer per active day. That's a couple hundred a month, right where our Sonnet number lands. And notice what the chart is really saying. On intro pricing, the close versus open gap is now under 2-to-1. Here's my contrarian take. For most teams, the cheapest model is not a model choice at all. Drop your cache hit rate from 85% to 40%, and Sonnet's bill jumps from about $220 to nearly $490. That increase alone is bigger than the entire gap between Sonnet and either open model. Tune the harness first, switch vendors second. If you saw our agent reliability episode, this is the same lesson wearing a price tag. So, which model wins? Trick question. On this chart, there is no winner. There are 5 different jobs. If you're chasing the hardest bugs and money is secondary, the ceiling still belongs to the closed models. On Anthropic's own numbers, Opus 4.8 leads SWE Bench Pro 69.2. If you want the best capability per dollar right now, Sonnet 5's intro window is genuinely the deal of the summer. And the 1 million token context is a real moat for giant code bases. If you're running bulk agent work, ref factors, test generation, migration grunt work, GLM 5.2 at $4.40 out is the boring, correct answer. If your team already lives in Copilot, Kimi K2.7 Code is one drop down away at the cheapest input price on this chart, and your code stays on Azure. If your constraint is sovereignty, regulated data, air-gapped infra, the MIT weights mean you can own the whole stack. Whichever way you lean, steal our method instead of our verdict. The whole model is 3 lines on a napkin. Fresh input times the input price, plus cached input times the cache price, plus output times the output price. Pull last month's token counts from your provider dashboard and run them against any new model's pricing page. You'll have your own answer in 5 minutes. No launch video required. One warning before you migrate anything. Switching models is never free. Your prompts, your evals, your guardrails are tuned to one model's quirks. Budget the migration cost before the per token savings. Zoom out, though, because the bigger story isn't any single price. Open weight models used to win benchmarks and lose distribution. As of this week, the first of them sits in the same drop-down as the frontier closed models, inside the most widely used AI coding assistant. The moat has moved. It's not access to intelligence anymore. It's the economics of serving it. Model pricing used to be a moat. This week it turned into a menu. Now the falsifiable call, so you can hold me to it. September 1st, when Sonnet's intro pricing ends, I don't think it fully reverts. And I expect at least one more open weight model inside the Copilot picker before that date. If I'm wrong, tell me about it in the comments. That thread stays open. And tell me your real number. What did your agent stack cost you last month? And on which model? The honest bills in the comments are a better benchmark than anything on this chart. Next episode, we're putting agent memory under the same microscope because a 1 million token context did not kill it, whatever the thumbnails say. See you in the next one.